Have we just witnessed the beginning of the end of Max Verstappen's time at Red Bull? Christian Horner, longtime team principal, has just been dismissed. Despite this sudden upheaval, Horner insists Max will remain with Red Bull for 2026. But behind the scenes, everything is in flux. The rumors are spiraling. Mercedes, Aston Martin, exit clauses, new regulations. So what's the truth? And what happens after 2026? Stay tuned, because if 1 year goes wrong, the shockwaves across the grid could be seismic. Christian Horner served as Red Bull's team principal and CEO for 20 years, guiding the team to 8 drivers' championships and 6 constructors' titles. He was abruptly sacked on the 9th of July 2025, replaced by Laurent Mekies. Horner has since clarified that despite the turmoil, Max Verstappen's commitment is unwavering. He will remain at Red Bull in 2026, his contract running through 2028. However, Horner also stated that while 2026 is settled, 2027 and beyond are open questions, and the team must plan for a future without Verstappen. Meanwhile, Red Bull is preparing for the biggest technical reset in its history, launching their first in-house power unit under the 2026 new regulations. Analysts and Horner himself suggest Mercedes may have the early engine edge during that transition phase. So far, the big picture seems clear. Verstappen stays through 2026. Red Bull invests for the long haul, but if they stumble, 2027 could be a breaking point. Horner called the speculation around Verstappen's departure just noise, insisting Verstappen is focused on improving the car rather than looking elsewhere. When asked directly about 2026, he responded confidently, "He will be there and driving for us in 2026. At the same time, he admitted publicly that Red Bull is planning for a future beyond Max. One day, whether it's a year after or the year after, there will be a day that there is no more Max." In interviews, Horner emphasized the upcoming regulations' uncertainty while referencing late founder Dietrich Mateschitz's saying, "We don't need the best driver if we don't have the best car." Red Bull is acutely aware it may face a drop-off once its engine program joins the grid. That makes 2026 a critical litmus test. If results don't come fast enough, Verstappen's exit clauses could be activated. In F1 terms, Horner's removal sends 2 signals: a show of loyalty to Max, showing that no leader is irreplaceable in the pursuit of keeping Verstappen; a warning shot: Red Bull is investing beyond him. He must stay not just by contract but by relevance. As Martin Brundle observed, ironically, the sacking might make it more likely that Verstappen stays at Red Bull because the conflict became personal, and now the path forward is clearer. A notable moment came at the British GP press junket. Horner cheekily suggested Oscar Piastri could be Max's replacement, an eyebrow-raising comment given the Belgian-born Aussie now leading the championship at McLaren. Meanwhile, Toto Wolff and Mercedes haven't been shy about public interest in a 2027 move. Wolff confirmed he'd spoken to Verstappen's management and described the talks as ongoing, not imminent. And George Russell's lack of a new contract only stokes speculation further. That makes 2027 a crossroads. If Red Bull's new power unit is slow, and Mercedes gets it right, as many expect, they could offer a compelling sanctuary for Verstappen. What drives each side? Christian Horner represents Red Bull's legacy, but his removal signals the team's shift to structure over personality. Horner himself admitted that if you can't force someone to stay by contract, you lose control, and Red Bull is preparing accordingly. Max Verstappen, by contrast, has always said he wants to finish his career at Red Bull, despite his father Jose's escalating criticism in the past. He's repeatedly stated there is no reason to leave, and that racing elsewhere is not even in my mind. Still, his management and Mercedes have engaged in talks, with his approval and under confidentiality. That's how serious Mercedes sees him as a potential teammate alongside Russell or potentially replacing him in 2027. Helmut Marko, often seen as Max's closest mentor inside Red Bull, has warned the exit clause could trigger if internal chaos worsens. Yet Brundle believes the drastic move of firing Horner could unite the Verstappens and make them stay because it became too personal. Let's break it down. Scenario 1. Max stays at Red Bull through 2028. Red Bull gets its 2026 engine right or close enough. Car performance rebounds. Horner's removal stabilizes internal politics. This preserves the status quo and keeps Verstappen in his comfort zone. Scenario 2. Max leaves in 2027. Red Bull's new power unit misses the mark. Mercedes delivers strong reliability and pace under new regulations. Exit clause activates. Mercedes presents the most attractive package. Anthony and Russell jockey for position. Mercedes may draft in Russell or Antonelli to shape Max's decision. Scenario 3. Aston Martin becomes a contender. They already recruited talent like Adrian Newey, Card, and Cowell, and signed a long-term Honda deal. If Red Bull's rebuild falters, Aston might offer the most competitive alternative outside Mercedes. Scenario 4. Unexpected outsider or team collapse. Red Bull slides into midfield due to misfires in both wind tunnel and engine integration. Paddock shifts focus to Ferrari or McLaren as new elite squads. Max could choose to take a sabbatical or even retire early, a personal ambition he's previously discussed. So what happens next? Or where does this leave us? 2026. Verstappen stays, Red Bull debuts its own engine, Mercedes may lead early, but everyone else plays catch up. Christian Horner's exit wasn't just a leadership change. It was a statement. Red Bull removed the person many believed was blocking Verstappen's progress, signaling to Max's camp and the paddock that they're committed to adapting around him. And yet, Horner emphasized that despite all the noise, Verstappen is definitely staying for 2026, contract and performance clauses intact. 2027. If 2026 goes wrong, Max has leverage and options. But even with that security, Horner admitted the real question lies in 2027 and beyond. And the reason is clear. The 2026 technical reset, new power units, active aero, sustainable fuels will reshape F1's hierarchy. Horner conceded Mercedes might have the early engine advantage, forcing Verstappen to consider his options. Meanwhile, Mercedes' Toto Wolff confirmed that conversations are ongoing with Verstappen's management, even as Russell's fate hangs in the balance. And Aston Martin, Ferrari, or even a rejuvenated Red Bull powertrain's partnership with Ford could also vie for his signature. Ultimately, 2026 is pivotal. If Red Bull delivers a winning car under the new regs, Verstappen stays. If not, 2027 could spark the most seismic driver move in a decade. What do you think? Is Verstappen the face of the next Red Bull era or a future Mercedes star? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and once you've shared your take, don't miss out. Click the video on screen right now for our deep dive into F1's 2026 tech revolution.